Me llamo Sheldon y este es la entrevista.
Hola hinchas, ¿cómo están? Hoy les traigo un video muy especial. Tuve la oportunidad de entrevistar a un futbolista profesional en Estados Unidos y me dio muchísimo contenido que les va a ayudar a ustedes mucho para ver cómo es el fútbol en Estados Unidos, qué tienes que hacer para ser profesional y muchas cosas mentales, físicas. No. Es un video, me encantó la entrevista, así que bueno, ya, vamos a darle luego con el video. People that don't already know you. I mean, you play for, you're, of course, Matt Sheldon, you just said it, and you play for the Charleston Battery, and in the second tier division in the United States. How is the life of a professional soccer? I know in your YouTube videos, and you try to show it a lot, but how is it? Like, you wake up and you do what?
Honestly, it's like a dream come true. Like everything that you imagine, it's true. Like your whole job is to wake up and play football, which just kind of is surreal. It's like what every kid wakes up and dreams of doing. And it's kind of crazy. Like even now, I don't get shocked when I see like the payments come in, like, you know, like your paychecks come into your bank account.
Yeah.
It's still kind of crazy to me because I'm so focused on just my performances and winning and the team. And all of a sudden you kind of like, you know, like this is your job, but it is kind of funny that this is actually your job and this is what you're being paid to every single day. So it's a weird thing. But at the same time, like it is a dream and it's like exactly what you want to do in life and everything, but it is still a job and it comes, and once it turns into a job, now it comes with all the same pros and cons and everything that any other job comes with, and expectations and deadlines and all the extra pressure that comes with it. So it is everything that I thought it would be, but there's a lot more stress and pressure. I'm only in the second division of the United States, like you said. Like as you go higher and higher, that stress, everything is just amplified more and more. But yeah, every single day. I mean, today I woke up at 7. I got into the facilities around 8:30, and then you kind of just hang out, change. You're in the locker room for a bit, just with your teammates playing music, and then training starts at around 10. It's about an hour and a half, hour and 45-minute training session. Then you come back out, you get lunch. We had lunch in the locker room, kind of hung out for a little bit. I came back to my house, had like an hour to take a little nap, recharge for a little bit. And then I had our team weightlifting session, which started at 2:15, finished around 3. And then I just got back home about 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine just me going like normal club when I was, I don't know, 15, training maybe sometimes every day, but actually getting paid for doing all that, which is, I bet it is surprising.
All because usually, you know, when you're growing up and you have club, you either have school that you're doing or you have another job, and like you don't have that. You don't have anything else for your day. So you have a lot of free time, but a lot of it is just like recovering, eating right, you know, sleeping, doing the right things just for the next day so that you can come out, have another good training session.
So you mentioned there's a lot of pressure, and I mean, in a way, yeah, it is a job. So basically, it's like your whole life. And with your YouTube channel and like basically and watching like games to analyze yourself, or watching other games like Premier League to analyze any other player, what do you do, or have you gotten burnt out, or what do you do to not get burnt out? Because I there's a lot of players that told me, you know what, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done. I don't feel like I was feeling like a year ago. I was really enjoying it, and now I'm not because I just burned myself out. Like, what do you do to prevent that from happening?
I mean, it's going to sound bad what I'm about to say, but it kind of goes from being fun and carefree with your friends out, you know, just having to kick about and having fun, and it shifts to completely performance based. And so you have to shift in your mind, like, okay, I'm playing football now, not just for my pure enjoyment in the moment, but all about performance. And you have to get obsessed with improving the little tiny details, obsessed with, you know, working on your crossing and getting that more accurate and hitting a better service more consistently. Or you have to get obsessed about being able to play on the back more consistently, or obsessed of like improving your athleticism or improving your, you know, your fitness or whatever. And I think focusing on that helps you kind of realize that, yeah, the workouts and the training sessions, they're going to shift away from more fun in the moment. And it's going to be more about like fulfillment of like, I'm improving, I'm seeing goals, I'm reaching goals, I'm getting better. And so you kind of have to get joy from improving that way, and the performance like of that, and seeing yourself improve over the long term, versus getting joy just from like in the moment, playing for fun, laughing. And I still enjoy it. Like I love playing. Like today, you still get mad when the whistle blows. You're like, oh my God, that's it. I wanted to have another round. But like it is very, very intense at the moment. And it's a lot different than like the club days or the youth football days where you're just kind of like laughing around and playing around. And it's just like very fun and carefree in that actual training session.
So basically, don't like as a young player, when you're trying to make it as a pro, don't expect to actually have fun the way you're having fun when you're like 15, 16, 17, or even like 20 sometimes in some academies or clubs.
I think it's really important to like switch on and switch off really quick, you know, like, and when I was a kid, I would never fully switch on or fully switch off. I'd be playing, and if something funny happened in the training session, I'd be laughing or whatever. And I wanted to win, I wanted to play, and I wanted to develop. But it was like I was like 80%, 100, like I was 80% serious, 20% kind of just there for fun with my friends. And then here at the pro level, it's either 100% switched on, improving, intense, screaming, yelling, everything that's full focus. And then all of a sudden, you know, as soon as the whistle blows and you're getting a water break, you switch off for 30 seconds. You're laughing, you're making fun of one of your teammates. Whistle blows again, 100% switched on. And I think learning to do that and to be able to switch on and switch off really quickly is really important as you get older and older.
You learn to do that just based on experience, I guess, trying to figure out what was going on in the moment you were not enjoying it, or just trust that it's gonna happen over the long term.
I think it kind of happens naturally just because as you go higher and higher, you kind of also pick up from the older players. They're taking it more and more seriously as you get older and older and go up higher and higher levels. So you start to see like, wow, if I start goofing off in this session, all of a sudden, you know, or even like taking a minute or a second off and laughing about something when I should be switched on and, you know, playing as hard as I can, then I'm going to get yelled at. My team's going to lose. We're going to give up a goal. And all of this now means so much more as you go higher and higher up. Even in training, like guys are fighting, competing in order to get that starting spot, because that starting spot now means a job and job security for the next year. It's not just about ego and your own pride, and there's no real consequences if you don't play or play well. There's a lot of real world consequences that come with bad performances now.
You mentioned in one of your videos, I remember watching it, and I like that opened my eyes too. Like even pro soccer players doubt of their abilities in a certain point, or you know, over their careers. What do you do to maintain the same level of confidence over the next game and the next game and the next? Because I know it's like easy to say, yeah, just forget about the game and see what you made wrong and just you try to improve on that and then think about the next game. But sometimes it's really hard to do that. What do you do to just maintain confidence and keep playing?
Yeah, for me, one of the biggest ways I've gained confidence is from years and years and years of training and playing and performing. And that's the long-term answer of how to get confidence. And now as a 29-year-old playing in the USL, you know, 100 games or so, of course, I'm going to have more confidence than a rookie playing their very first debut game as a pro. So that's kind of like the obvious answer. But I think in more of the shorter term about how to improve your confidence with games and everything, for me that really helped was kind of like realizing that I'm never going to just be 100% confident at like a flip of a switch, no matter how much visualization I do, no matter how much mental stuff I do, no matter how much journaling I do, no matter how much positive self-talk I do, that self-doubt's not just going to disappear forever. And what helped me is realizing that everybody has self-doubt. You know, Kobe Bryant had self-doubt. Michael Jordan had self-doubt. Even the players that even were in the interviews that I showed in that video, playing for Fulham, playing for Sunderland, they had self-doubt in their abilities. And if they are doubting their abilities, it's completely normal for me to be doubting my abilities. And I kind of view it as if I had any self-doubt, I was wrong in having that, when really it's a normal thing to do that. And I think it really is a good thing, because it helps you kind of look at yourself in your game and say like, what do I need to improve on? I need to get better here. I need to improve here. And once I kind of realized that it's a normal thing and I should be having it, and I just need to learn that that's part of the process, and that I play best when I'm going full speed, full force, and kind of shutting off my brain. I can still have that self-doubt, but I just need to go for it and kind of try to shut off my brain as much as possible. and that I'm never going to be going in the game thinking I'm Superman and I can never lose the ball or anything.
Yeah.
And it's just part of life. It's normal.
And it's crazy. I think in that video you mentioned that the effect on the positive or negative, like if you are doubting yourself, it affects your game more than if the whole stadium shouts your name or something, or applauds you when you score like a hat trick or something. And we can see that a lot. I guess one example that came to my mind right now. It's Messi. When he like missed the penalty in the Copa America, he quit the Argentinian squad right there and then. Like, yeah, you know what? This is not for me. And then, but we don't realize when you see it. You say, oh, maybe he's just sad, but he was actually, I guess, going through a really hard time. And if Messi is going through a hard time, like doubting himself, like who are we to not doubt about us? It's a if you see it that way, yeah, I guess you find out that you are gonna be okay because you're not gonna play I guess 100% every game or 100% of your abilities.
My coach at Orange County Blues was talking to me about this was my first fully professional season as a pro, and I joined them mid-season. And as soon as I got in, I started that game, and I played pretty much every single minute, started every game for the rest of the season. And I think about halfway through, so there was like, I had already played like 10 games with the team or something, started every single one, played every single one. And I was going through like a little slump with my confidence and with my performance. And it was obvious, like I just wasn't playing the same as I was at the beginning. And my coach pulled me aside and was like, what's going on? Like, do you not like believe in yourself? You've started every single game. I've started you every single game, played you every single minute that you've got in here. Why are you doubting yourself? Like, I recruited you, I saw you, I liked you, I played you in the games, you did well. Why do you think that now, why are you playing any differently? And it was like, I don't know. I don't know. It's just my confidence is down. When in reality, looking at that, everything should be pointing to my confidence should be soaring. I came in, signed my first pro deal, immediately got on the starting lineup, started the first 10 games that I could possibly play. You'd think my confidence would be peaking, when in reality, for no reason, it was at the lowest point at like that point. And I think having those conversations with the coaches, doing some extra work, extra training, and then kind of just really telling myself that, look, like when I come out and play timid, or I, and have tons of thoughts going in my brain, I just play terribly. So I'm just going to flip it on its head, and I'm just going to come out here and just be aggressive. I don't care if I make mistakes. I don't care if I foul. I don't care if I take a touch right out of bounds. I'm just going to go out here and play 100% and try to switch off my brain. And it kind of got me out of that. But it was so weird, like looking back on that, like in that moment, I should have been the most confident player on the field. But yet here I was in my own head, barely being able to touch the ball without freaking out.
Yeah, that happened to us a lot. And I guess you answered it correctly in your way. You said that, yeah, I guess you just have to switch it off. You have to learn to just switch everything off and just do the hard work, and the basic stuff. And I guess it's just little by little, you're going to build up over time more and more confidence. And I think it's really important for players to train every day too, for them to, well, they're going to be more confident if they train every single day for like 3 months. If they have like a tryout in the next 3 months, if they train every single day for those 3 months, they're going to be more confident in the tryout, or they're going to be more confident in the game, as if they just lay down in bed waiting for the tryout. I guess that's what I tell them a little bit too. But in that moment, I guess, yeah, when you're there and you don't know what's going on, because that happened to me last semester too. But it was because the coach was shit. We fired him. We talked to the athletic director and we succeeded. We fired him. He was not taking it seriously. And he didn't care. He was just going there and sometimes showing up to practice. Sometimes he didn't. It was so bad. And he was just starting whatever people he liked. I started sometimes, I didn't start sometimes, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you're a game changer. You're gonna be there." But he didn't start me. He was, "I'm saving you for the last 20 minutes, so you can like score a goal." I was like, "What are you doing?" How do you say something to yourself when you're switching it off, or how do you just in that moment in the game when you're angry at the coach, or you're angry at like some pressure you're having? What do you do? Just poof or?
Like I agree. Like I think it's anything that takes you out of just playing naturally and instinctually is always tough. And it's so hard with coaching because coaches want you to play a certain way, or they might be in your head because they're angry at you about something, or the opposite. They might be hyping you up too much, and now you think you're a god when you really need to kind of be your ego deflated a little bit. And I think like, if you have thoughts going on and you're thinking about what you should be doing, or you're thinking about like how you should be playing, or you should be trying something different, it's like, I always think that takes away from your natural instincts of the game. And I think you play the best when you're just completely naturally doing something. And the goal is to watch so much film with your coach, to be so clear tactically, to be on the same page of all your teammates, that what your coach wants is the natural instinct. But I think sometimes it's so hard when you have all this external stimuli to then be thinking about all this stuff and having all these thoughts about these conscious thoughts about where you should be touching the ball, where you should be going, where you should be looking, and reality. And that slows you down. And then you end up just getting tackled. You lose the ball, you make dumb mistakes that you would never make before. And when I start seeing myself do that and kind of going down that hole where all of a sudden I'm not really playing like myself anymore, I kind of in my head tell myself like, go back to square one, like go back to where it all began, go back to why you were recruited in the first place, go back to why they wanted to sign you, go back to your normal, authentic self and do what you think is right in the moment. Obviously that coach is going to have an impact on you and you want to play to their playing style, but you still need to kind of keep true to yourself as a player and do what you need to do. And I kind of like tell myself that in my head. And then if I get the ball, immediately I'm just doing exactly how I always play and trying not to overthink every touch and overthink where the ball should be going all the time. And it's tough. If I knew a secret to make it just switch immediately and constantly do that, making it sound really easy now, but it really just kind of takes practice. And honestly, sometimes it takes weeks of talking to yourself, like go back to your roots, go back to what you can do, go back to dribbling, go back to crossing, how you cross or whatever. But it is a hard process. But I think constantly self-talking in your head is the best way where you can make long-term changes about your game.
Now let's go back to where you decided, because you told in a YouTube video, I think you said that you weren't thinking of actually pursuing the professional soccer career after like when did you decide you wanted to be professional?
Seriously, when I thought like I really could do it, I was like 21.
So let's go back when you were like 21. You thought you could do it. What was going on in your head? Were there fears or doubts, or were there certain goals that you wanted to achieve? What was going on?
I had a weird upbringing because like every coach I had and people around me and teammates, like it was very unrealistic from where I was coming from to go pro. Like nobody around me was really going professional. The few players that were scouted from Portland or Oregon kind of like got immediately pushed out to academies in other states because we just didn't really have a real academy set up in the state of Oregon when I was growing up. So like I never thought like the route to the professional life as like a realistic route at all. And I kind of just thought like, I really like playing and I really like how we talked at the beginning. I really like improving like the tiny minutia of the game and like really seeing how good I can get as a player, whatever it is, how fast I can get, how fit I can get, how good at crossing I can get, how many goals I can score for my college team or whatever. And so I was just obsessed with just improving and becoming the best player I could just for that next season. And I just kept on doing that. And then all of a sudden I realized, it kind of sounds funny, but I kind of took a step back and I realized I'm like, I am one of the leading goal scorers in my conference for my Division I collegiate team. I am the leading goal scorer for the San Jose Earthquakes U23 team. Literally the next step above this, the next little baby step up is the professional game. And I was like, wow, that's it. Like I'm here now. It's realistic for me to actually do this. When all I was kind of worried in the moment was like, can I become the starter for my college team? Can I have a good season? Can I score 7 goals this season? Can I get on the San Jose Earthquakes U23 team? So I was just so focused on those little next goals that it wasn't until I actually got up like right under the professional level that I realized like, wow, I can actually do this. I can actually become a pro. So I realized that right after that season with the San Jose Earthquakes U23 team. And then when my coach had a serious conversation with me and said, you can become a pro, let me know if you need any help. I can put you in contact with people. And I said, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to drop out after my senior year and I'm going to try to become a pro.
So you dropped out during your senior year?
After the senior season, like it was like December, because like college soccer is in the fall.
Yeah.
So after the fall season, yeah, I dropped out. That was like 2014.
Mhm.
And I just dropped out, and I had the coach of the San Jose Earthquakes U23 team who said he would help me out. I had my college coach who had connections to some professional teams. And then I also had another scout who was the head scout for the Portland Timbers, who was talking to me and kind of like I can put you in contact with some professional teams and professional agents. So I kind of was like, you know what, if there's a time to do it, I need to do it now. I can't wait till I
Yeah.
graduate. And I just dropped out and went for it.
I guess you did the right decision.
Yeah.
You had a lot of contacts, and well, a lot of people get asked or think about, I don't know, should I go to college, should I go to education, or should I go to actually pursue the soccer career? But well, you did had a lot of people that were telling you that you could do it and they were going to help you out, and it made the decision easier. But people that are not really don't have that many opportunities or are not in a realistic environment where they can actually become pros when they're like 16, 18, and they just want to quit everything, it's really hard for them. So even with that help and advice from the coaches that talked to you, did you what were you thinking in that at that moment? Like after you dropped out of college, were you okay? So what's the next step?
I was kind of like thinking about that, but at the same time, like I had so many like I even going back, like I'll take a step back right now. Like my biggest advice for people that want to do a big lifestyle change like that, whether it's I'm going to quit high school and go over to Europe, or I'm going to drop
Yeah.
out of college and do whatever. Like I always say, like people have the wrong impression of that, and I think it's wrong if I were just to be like, just drop out, quit school, I'm on my own now, and then I'd step out and go, okay, now what? How do I
Yeah.
do this now? You know? And so like my biggest advice for whoever, like whatever your thing is to perform wherever you are, and then create all this backlog of opportunities like sitting there. So I had, you know, like I said, all those coaches that I was talking to, the agents, everybody, so that right when you drop out or you make that decision, you have plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, you know? And
Yeah.
so like goal is to have so many plans that now multiple work out, and now you can even pick and choose the best opportunity, leverage them against each other, get the best contract that you can. And a lot are going to fall through, and a lot aren't going to work out. So you need to be prepared for plan A falling through, plan B falling through, all these plans going through. And so right when I dropped out, I immediately just started reaching out to my list of people and just saying, you know, let's do this. Like I reached out to the head scout of the Portland Timbers and said, I've officially dropped out of school. You know, I would love it if you can put me in contact with an agent. You put me in contact with Sam, this agent I was working with, started talking with him. I was also talking with the San Jose Earthquakes coach saying, hey, can you take me to Costa Rica? What are your looks at doing
Yeah.
this? He had some contacts there. I was talking with my college coach to get me an invite in the Sacramento Republic. I was signing up for open trials with the Portland Timbers, the Seattle Sounders too, and then Vancouver Whitecaps too. I was signing up for the InfoSport Combine in Florida. I was hoping that I was going to get invited to the MLS Combine. And I just was literally just had this full backlog, my every day texting people, calling people, working out stuff. I was training with the Ventura County Fusion, a little PDL team that had connections to the pro level, and just really spent that month of December just trying to set up as many professional trials as I possibly could. And I ended up setting 7 or 8 like pretty serious opportunities up before that next season started.
You did have a lot going on, and that's an excellent example of someone that wants to become anywhere in the soccer industry, even like, I don't know, like any age. And now that you're there in the like the professional level, what do you think it's harder? Because a lot of, well, most of us of course focus on getting there, but is it harder to stay there as a professional player with all the pressure, the coaches, and well, now it's a job, or is it harder to actually get there? What was harder for you?
Yeah, I've gone back and forth on this question a lot, and I
Yeah.
really, I think they're pretty equal. I really can't say, because I think that it's different for everybody, but I do think it is really extremely hard to get your breakthrough into the pro game, and a serious breakthrough, because so many players really struggle with that first serious trial, that first serious offer to come in, and getting that first pro contract is an extremely tough thing to do. Because as a coach, you're taking a chance on somebody who's never signed pro. To sign them to a professional contract to your team, you have no idea if they're going to crack under the pressure or if they're going to perform under the pressure. So it is extremely tough to get that first one. And for me, like I said, it sounded like I had so many opportunities. All of them fell through. I got pushed away from some trials. Some of them didn't work out. Some coaches got fired and my opportunities went away. It ended up taking me a year and a half from when I dropped out to when I finally signed my first fully professional contract. And that was a year and a half of constant texting, going on trials, going to, I went to I think I had 20 professional trials through that time in Canada, the US, Iceland, and Germany, all over the world. And it was really, really tough. But I do think my gut's telling me that it is harder to maintain as a pro and keep your professional career alive. Because that first opportunity, you kind of get that break, and it's like, okay, it's your first year. You're okay to be a little rough around the edges. It's okay not to have the best season, but then to keep on every single year, improving and developing as a better player every single year. It's tough because if you don't improve, they're going to give the opportunity to the same player that's younger that's still rough around the edges as well. So you really need to continue that development, continue improving, continue building as a player, so that they don't just think, okay, yeah, we can go get the same quality player, but 5 years younger over here. You need to develop into a veteran, an experienced player. And I've seen so many players get their first 2 years as a pro, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, and then their career is done because they haven't continually improved. So I think both have very, very tough facets to get there. But honestly, I think it's probably more difficult to have an extended long career with injuries and all the extra stuff that can come up.
Yeah, I mean, it is, so everyone that is actually wants to become pro, it's not, if you have a contract opportunity, it's not going to get easier. Actually, I've known several people too that I have this teammate that I played with in Mexico, and he actually out of nowhere, I don't really know how he trained a lot and he worked hard and stuff. He had the first game in the first division in Mexico with America, and he scored in a really big game in the Estadio Azteca, against Monterrey or something, really a good game. That was his debut. He scored one goal in his debut, and he was 19. And now he's in the second division of the Mexican, and I don't know if he's starting in the starting 11. It's really sad to see that. But what do you think? Why do you think that happened? They're not working hard. I guess the confidence level, or
I think there's different players with different personality types. I've seen a lot of young players come in and they're 18, 17, whatever, and they get their first pro contract and they think that wow, their whole career has been very easy. They've always been the best player, and then they get to the professional level where all of a sudden they're not the best player anymore. They're a great player. They have tons of potential. They could become one of the best players, but they're not the best player anymore. And I think this is the first time in their life they're hit with that. And then so many of them are not willing to accept that and realize I need to work twice as hard now to get on the field. I need to do what work out more. I need to talk and do more film. I need to learn from the older players. And they kind of just continue to skate by thinking that, oh, I'll, whatever, I should be on the field for whatever reason. They have a poor attitude. Their work ethic might be a little bit lower. So I've seen a lot of younger players come in kind of thinking or expecting to kind of walk on and be the best player. And all of a sudden they're not. And that kind of throws their world all upside down because that's the first time they've experienced it. So a lot of players go through that and they never break through that kind of younger mindset and think, okay, it's time to humble myself. It's time to work. It's time to ask questions and learn and develop as a player and learn from these older guys. But the ones who do, I think, typically have longer, better careers. And then you have the other guys, I think, that are a little bit more timid and afraid, and they come in lacking confidence, and they think that, they're a little bit put off by the older, bigger guys, and they don't fully believe in themselves, and they don't want to challenge or step on the toes of the older, experienced players. And so then they constantly are walking on eggshells, playing a little bit timid, and they kind of just get cast aside and forgotten about. So as that younger player, you need to come in with that perfect level of of confidence, cockiness, where you are really challenging the older guys and pushing and competing and working hard, but also with the humbleness of, I need to learn, I want to develop. These players have more experience than me. What can I learn from them? How, watching all those players train, how can I improve my game? And if you do that and you come in with the right amount of confidence and willing to push and compete, yet also willing to learn and develop, I think those young players are the ones that really continue their development and then end up having long, successful careers. But it all stems down to work. And I've seen the players that work the hardest, do the most extra training in off season, are the ones doing the most film. They're asking the most questions. They're competing, doing the most, like just the most effort. Those are the ones that usually end up having the best careers.
I was just gonna ask you that. What do you like being in that environment? What do you think is the biggest factor? Just the pure talent, the Messi of the town that just made it and now is playing, or the guy that had this spark? Because I believe you need like kind of spark. If you need something, like that that you don't think about what you're gonna play or how you're gonna play, and you just do this move or out of nowhere, and like that spark. What do you think it's like, the people who work really really hard, or the people that are just talented, like they're always been really good, so that's why they're pros? Which one do you think is like a bigger factor being in that professional environment?
Everybody who they think are natural and just, they didn't really have to work hard. Like, I think you don't see like all the behind the scenes stuff, and yeah. I think a lot of pros that kind of skate by. Like, I'm sure there's players I don't know Eden Hazard. I don't know his full training lifestyle. I don't know how hard he's worked as his whole life. You hear rumors that he might not be the best training player and might be lazy, but you don't know, like, even as a kid, he might've been working and put in 10,000 hours before the age of 16, and I think that every player will put in their work at some point. If you make it to the pro level, you have to work extremely hard at some point in your life, whether that's from the ages of 5 to 15 and nobody really saw, and now from 15 on, you're kind of skating by, or if that's from 15 to 25, or if that's your whole life or whatever, that you do have to put in a lot of hours in training. But I do think there are some players who pick up the game a little bit faster than others and have it come a little bit more naturally. And I think that in order to really get to the top level, you have to combine the two. You have to be extremely talented, have to have that maybe that game comes a little bit more naturally to you, but it needs to be tons and tons of hours and work put in. And then there's players that have to work and put in crazy amounts of hours and do everything extra and still only get up to, maybe the US second division. But no matter what, like, it doesn't matter. You're going to have to put in some work. And then the best, if you want to be the best of the best, you're going to have both,
Who stands out the most? Like the people that actually, they're working the asses off, or the people that are just talented and are not working as hard? I don't know if you can really see that difference in the professional level, like this player that it's working his ass off, and this other player that is, he's not training that much, but he's still really talented. Who stays there? Who stands out the most? What's the like balance between that?
It's honestly, from what I've seen, I mean, I have only been in the USL and some lower leagues abroad, but all the best players are always the ones that they're doing the most. Like, if I'm looking back to all my teams, the best players are the ones that are sticking around and doing extra shooting drills every single day. They're the ones that are there before, doing more extra work in the gym, doing more prehab stuff. They're the ones who are watching more film, watching more games, constantly obsessed with the game. I haven't seen a lazy player that just, I'm like, oh my God, this guy doesn't work hard, and then come on the field and just be special. But I'm sure there's definitely players like that, but I haven't seen one at the professional level. All the players that are lazy and then they come on the field and try to work, they have their attitude. They're very like cocky, and they try a lot, and sometimes it will work out, but consistent performances over the whole season, it's always the player that puts in the most work.
Because we like see on the big screen, Ronaldinho or this other like Brazilians. I don't know why they're all Brazilians, but you have that mentality of that they're not working as hard. Or maybe Ronaldinho played his entire life, like you said, 5 to 15, and now he was just pro, and he didn't do anything. And I guess that kind of damages people's motivation when they see like, oh yeah, but they think that, oh yeah, but he's talented. He's pro because he's really talented. But that's all. That God touched his feet, and he's talented, so I can't compete with that.
I think for example, like with Ronaldinho, I guarantee from the age of 3 until he was 18, he was playing 5 hours with the ball, 5-a-side on the courts all the time, playing, and he racked up. I mean, it might at the time at that young age might not have seemed like work to him, but he put in, extensive training hours. And let's say, like, for example, I think that you can't become a pro without having the 10,000 hour rule is kind of cliche, and I don't believe it's exactly 10,000 hours.
Yeah, of course.
Right? But I do think there's some truth to it. Like, there's no pro that's just naturally talented that's playing professionally on 2,000 hours. Like, it just doesn't happen. And maybe there's some that get to the professional level on 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, and it becomes a little bit easier and natural to them, 100%. And some that it might take, 13, 14, 15,000 hours of grind in order for them to get there. But they're going to put in the work no matter what. And even with Ronaldinho as well, you're not seeing also that they're training with their team 5 days a week under extreme conditions. They're working hard. You hear stories about, they might not be doing that much, but they're still training more than 99% of the population out there.
And to conclude, because I think I don't pay this Zoom, so I think he's gonna cut us out soon. Hopefully not in the middle of the interview. But first, one question, quick. Who do you go for, Chivas or America?
Chivas.
Good answer. I know this is kind of like cliche question, but what do you? I'm a young player now. Let's say 15, 16. Between 15 and 20, I guess. And I want to really try to work really hard to become professional, or even to perform, like you said, in my high school or in my college. What should I start on in my game?
I think it's looking at your own game and asking yourself, like, where are your weaknesses? What's holding you back from reaching that next level? And it's going to change. The answer is going to change from year to year. It might be, I'm the smallest, weakest guy on my team. I need to continue my technical development, but I need to get in the gym. Or it might be, I'm the slowest guy on my team. I need to do extra speed work. Or it's I'm great defensively. I'm solid building out, but my final third creativity is shit, and I need to work on that. And whatever it is, finding ways and learning and developing and getting outside your comfort zone to improve that part of your game, and relentlessly working in those areas. It's very easy to go out to the field and work on your strengths. I would love to go out the field and just work on what I'm good at. But you have to go and work out exactly what you aren't good at to improve those parts of your game, and just become obsessed with the game in all areas, constantly working to improve all areas, but with that special focus on what really is holding you back.
We've covered a lot in this interview. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation. I honestly wasn't expecting you to like interview now. Even in the middle of the interview, I thought I was just watching a YouTube video.
That's funny.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks so much. So what do you plan? What are you planning doing after, like, in this season? What are your goals?
No, first off, thank you for having me on is this it's not a podcast, right? It's just
it's just yeah.
No, thanks for having me on there. I appreciate it. And I love doing stuff like this. So I'm it doesn't bother me at all. After I'm done playing, I want to definitely have a facility and train players that are really serious about getting to the next level, whatever that is, whether that's making varsity for their high school team, whether that's going abroad at 18 or playing college or pro or whatever, and taking those players and doing the extra training with them, the small group training, the individual training, the gym work, exactly what I said, like taking those players and like, okay, I'll evaluate you. I'll see what you need in order to reach up to the next level. And then we'll make a program for you to get there. And then you train, work out there, whatever. And then my goal is to continue with the YouTube channel and film those workouts, film those training sessions, continue the same type of videos that I still kind of make, but shift the focus from the behind the scenes of my life and shift it more into the workouts, the training, the facility environment, and hopefully bring in some really big pros and have them train there and work out there. I think that'd be awesome in their off seasons.
That's why I encourage people, if they really like soccer, not just to focus, I have to be professional. there's a lot of options that you can do by training every day. You don't have to be professional. By training every day, a lot of opportunities kind of open up to you, and you don't even know what we're talking right now, and we have a YouTube channel, or like there's a lot of stuff that can happen. So training, and it's just a beautiful game. I mean, that's why we're here.
Yeah, 100%. It really is. It's just training, working out every day, and finding like the passion of doing it, like it's really important. Like you don't, like I said, like the workouts and training in the moment, they can suck. It can be terrible.
Yeah.
You'll be dreading it, but once you finish it and you see that and get it done, you're like, oh my God, that was awesome. And it's so many times you'll go out there and you'll be training and you're like the whole morning, you're like, I don't want to go train. I don't want to go train. All of a sudden you're out at the field, and then you are like, oh, I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to get a few more shots. And you want to stay out of the field. Like, I think that's like a big important factor of like understanding as a kid of like, yeah, the work is going to be grueling and exhausting and mentally tiring, but it is rewarding in the long term, and like people you meet, the experiences you have, where it takes you in the world. It's very, very cool what it can do.
My parents don't support me in that decision. I want to be professional. What do I do? And I sometimes tell them, that it's not just professional. It's not just be professional. I mean, you get a lot of. There's a really good book called by Jorge Valdano. He won the World Cup with Maradona, and he wrote the 11 powers of soccer or something like that. Like the 11 on the field, and he wrote every single value as a person that you learn just by playing soccer. So I mean, that's what I tell them when they ask me, oh, what do I do? My parents don't really help me out, or they don't let me train, or what's your advice for them when I mean, I'm sure you've gotten that question.
It's really important to have your performances and like your actual how good you are needs to convince your parents. If I was 17 in high school and I was on the B team of my club soccer team in Portland, and I had, no college offers, and I told them, I'm going to become a pro, I'm going to drop, I don't want to go to college, I'm going to do this. They would have been like, no, they would have smacked me. Like, what are you doing? What are you thinking? Like, no. However, at that moment, I was like, I do want to become a pro, but I need to go about this in a realistic way. So it's like, I had a part-time job. I was getting good grades in school. I had my backup plans, but yet I was working every single day, training, working out, because that was my passion. And of course I wanted to become a pro, but I couldn't tell my parents when I was on the B team at 17 and be like, yeah, I'm going to become a pro. I'm going to drop everything. Why don't you believe in me? They shouldn't have believed in me at that moment. They would be like, no, good, but let's focus on a realistic path, because honestly, it's very slim, even if you are performing at a high semi-pro level, to even make it to the pro level. And so I kind of balanced that. I showed them like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go to school, continue rising up the ranks. And it wasn't until I was 21, like I said earlier in the podcast or in the interview, of like, I had literally made it and was performing the best player at the highest semi-professional and collegiate level you could get to. And at that moment, I said, I'm going to drop out and go become a pro. And at that moment, my parents were like, we're not happy that you're dropping out of school, but
of course
we can see it. We believe in you, because I showed them, and I showed them on the field that I was there, So I think it's very important for kids to realize that your parents aren't going to let you drop out of middle school to become a pro. You have to grind your way, work your way up, and instill belief in yourself by performing on the field, and also showing them that you have a backup plan. You don't have to be serious about it. And I never really wanted to do anything with my mathematics degree, but I was getting good grades in college with my math degree, but my real focus was on improving my game as a footballer.
Funny story, actually, I did drop out of high school to become professional. I was offered a third division, professional third division in Mexico, and I was talked to my mom, and I was like, I can do homeschool, and it was super hard. Of course, I didn't do homeschool. Like, I was just training every day and crossing the border every day, and I mean, it didn't work out because I was an American, and as a minor, FIFA did. I played with the U.S. Federation, because even if you play with the semi-pro or like any, like when you're young, they have to like send it to the U.S. Soccer Federation, and then you get your like curriculum when you're like 8. And then I wanted to go to Mexico, and they said, wait a minute, FIFA doesn't let us transfer minors from federation to federation, so you can't play. So I was just stuck there for like 2 years, and well, I eventually did finish high school, like, and I graduated with my class, but I just did extra work. But I mean, yeah, like you said, just have something concrete and don't just, yeah, I'm gonna just drop out of school and see what happens, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like you had the concrete offer to go train
Yeah.
and play with this third division team. You had the
Yeah.
concrete, you told your parents, you know, the homeschool in the background, even if it wasn't working out. But yeah,
Yeah.
you need to have that proof there. If you were 16 and you had no offer from that, you know,
Yeah.
third division side, and you told your parents, yep, I'm done with high school, I'm gonna try
Yeah.
to play pro. It'd have been like,
Yeah.
hey, no, let's
Yeah,
do this. But if you
exactly.
have that team that's interested in you, all of a sudden they're like, you know what? Yeah, let's see where this can go, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Do you think Chicharito has to be in the national squad or no? Do you know about that?
It's tough. I'm a big fan of Chicharito.
Yeah,
But
me
like
too.
I said that so it's such an American accent, but I really like him. And I
Yeah.
can see why he would not be in the squad. But I support him. I really
Yeah.
like him as
Thank you so much again. I don't anything you want to say? I don't know how to end the video or the interview.
nothing. Like I've had a great time. I'm really happy to be on the interview, and yeah, appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, me too. I had a great time. And can you say that in Spanish? No, I'm kidding.
That's a tough one. No, my Spanish isn't there. It's not there, unfortunately. Maybe one day.
Bueno, hinchas, eso fue la entrevista, espero que les haya encantado, yo aprendí muchísimas cosas de él, al igual que espero que ustedes hayan aprendido, voy a ponerle todos los subtítulos, espero que le hayan entendido y realmente que lo vean varias veces y que se acuerden y nos abrió los ojos, ¿a poco no? Muchísimas cosas aprendimos de él, vayan a seguirlo aquí al canal de abajo si hablan inglés, Matt Sheldon, si no lo conocen, Become Elite, y la verdad que un tipazo, me encantó trabajar con él, me encantó hacer este video con él, o sea, se portó muy bien, muy buena onda, y bueno, gracias, si quieren otro tipo de videos, a lo mejor que entreviste a alguien más, pues ahora sí que adelante, ¿no? Díganme aquí en los comentarios y a ver si los podemos conseguir, pero gracias, en serio, gracias por ver, estoy muy emocionado no me la creo todavía, que voy a sacar un video de este tipo de contenido, la verdad me encanta poder sacarles contenido que realmente les ayuden, pero bueno. Nos vemos, hinchas. Practiquen todos los días.